What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to discuss how I believe Warner Bros. Should announce the three big games. Harry Potter, whatever it's going to be called, that open world RPG game. Rocksteady's game, whether it's Suicide Squad, whether it's Justice League, whether it's whatever they're making. And Batman, whether it be Batman Arkham. I love how all three of them have a lot of mystery involved in them. That's just Warner Bros. Way. But yesterday, we talked about a pretty huge leak that was pretty much, from Jason Schreier, from James Sigfield as well. When putting the two together, when really connecting the dots, these are things that should be announced no later than E3. Batman could definitely come before E3. The rest of them could come at E3. We've also talked a bit in past videos how I think E3 is in serious danger of cancellation. I've talked about that days ago, and more people have come out over the last couple of days and saying, hey, because of you-know-what, which we again cannot say on YouTube, because of you-know-what, E3 could very well be shut down. These companies could be doing things from their own studios. They could be just having live streams. They could be having presentations like Sony's State of Play, like Nintendo Direct. And again, I talked about this on Monday. Over the past couple of days, even James Sigfield, even Jason Schreier, they've been saying it more and more. So when it comes to these three games, these are the three big ones, right? I feel like over the last almost year, it's what this channel has almost entirely become known for, which is an okay thing. I have no problem with that. We used to be known for Pirates. We used to be known for Star Wars. We used to be known for Avengers, and now we're taking our turn with this entire like DC or Warner Bros. In general kind of thing. But these are the three big games that we've covered for the longest time that we've really grown a community with, and you guys are absolutely awesome. Just want to say that in the beginning. I know I don't always say it early on, but I just want you guys to know how great you are. And for this, again, for what we're going to be doing here, I want to put everything together. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday's video, where I said things like, I really do feel like the approach should be get Batman announced before everything else. You can't, I think, have all three of these games be announced at the same time. It takes people's eyes away from each thing, right? You're really separating the general interest in all. And again, I said that yesterday, and I've said that for months. Ever since, I'd say like August even, I was saying, hey, you can't have Rocksteady and Warner Bros. Montreal go at the same time. You can't have a Suicide Squad or Justice League or whatever. You can't have that game be announced the same day and time that Batman Arkham, whatever it's called, is announced. I think they're going to take away from each other, and mainly, I feel like Rocksteady's game is going to get more attention. Now throw in it's not a DC game, right? It's not part of their DC universe, but throw in a Harry Potter game, a game that made the biggest waves you can imagine from a leaking community back in October of 2018. That game was enormous, and it was just a small snippet of leaked gameplay. It was people talking about it, and it was absolutely gigantic. So now throw that game on, and you have those three games, and you have more, right? And I get it. E3 conferences, by the way, are those kind of bringing together of all these things where you do just say, hey, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game. Sony did that a few years ago, right, where it's just like game. We're not going to stop. We're going to go after the show's over. We're going to be announcing games. And I love that. That is so ultimately what I do want to get through to you guys, too, and I said this yesterday, is it's not the worst thing in the world, okay? Having three amazing games that we've all been looking forward to being announced at the same time is not a bad thing from that perspective, right? Because we're finally getting them. So I don't want people to take it out of context, and they absolutely will, and there will be people saying that. But there's really nothing. I'm saying it. People just have to watch the videos. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I would like them spaced out. My own personal preference, I would like them spaced out, and I think it just works out better if it's kind of what we were saying all along, right? We get a teaser trailer, we even maybe get a full-on trailer of Batman, So let's go Batman first. Batman, I feel like the best way to do it is over the next coming months before we get to E3 is you have a trailer, a full-length trailer, not necessarily gameplay, but at least a full trailer of the game where you probably also show the release date and the title all in one go. It would be massive. It would honestly be surprising because I'm not necessarily expecting them to do that, but I think it's what they should do, and that gets it out there. Now, everybody's talking about Batman. All right, fast forward to E3. My personal personal prediction, I maybe should have said this earlier in the video, but if you guys have made it 4 minutes in, congrats. I personally believe E3 will be canceled. I really do. I don't feel like it's for the right reason. I have my own personal beliefs with all this other kind of stuff. We're not going to get into it. I personally don't side with necessarily everybody shutting down everything in the world, but I feel like E3 will be canceled for that reason. But what's going to happen is developers and publishers are going to realize that it's a whole better world when they don't go to E3 than when they do. And again, we talked about that in that E3 video. I believe E3's been dying out. I feel like it's best for everybody to just do their own thing. I think they're all going to be very successful doing it anyway. I really do. And there's so many more reasons, but again, we already talked about it. So my personal prediction is there is no E3, is we're not going to get to E3. So when we get to early June, I feel like Warner Bros. Will have their own thing. And yes, it will be a combination of all of these different things, but I feel like there is where they announce Rocksteady's game. There is where they announce Harry Potter. There is where they maybe do Monolith. If there's another Shadow of blank game, right, a Middle Earth game. If they do that, if they're doing the Superman game, maybe you have that be shown. Those kind of things. I feel like that's going to happen at Warner Bros. Live stream. Let's call it that. They're going to have a live stream or a presentation, online presentation, and that's where they would show that. At the same time, I think they would show Batman again, the game that's already at this point in our timeline been announced, but this time you show gameplay. And what I talked about yesterday at the end of the video that I'll say earlier in this one so people maybe that clicked off can hear it is, I understand that when I say like I don't want all these games shown at the same time, I want people to get that I'm not saying that I'm expecting like 20 minutes of things from each of these games and there's just going to be so much information that people can't process. No, I know full well that the Harry Potter game is probably just getting a trailer. I know full well the Rocksteady game is probably just getting a trailer. And we've talked about that, right? We've talked about that. Warner Bros., I feel like, is definitely going to have to switch up their strategy this time around because normally, and how many times have we said it? And you guys could probably say it with me at this point, is they announce their game and it releases 4 to 6 months later. They're going to announce Batman and it's going to release in like September or October or maybe early November, right? That is their playbook. The problem with, and it's not a problem, but the thing that's going to be different this time with Warner Bros. Is if they do this Harry Potter game, I can't see how that comes out in the fall. If they announce this Rocksteady game, I can't see it coming out in the fall. So those two games are 2021 games. And I feel like it is outside of what they normally do to announce them, right? Because they normally wouldn't do that. But I just feel like because of, and we've said this, right? I've said this for months, so this is not the first time I'm saying this. I feel like because of next gen, they're going to rethink their strategy and they're going to say, okay, well, we want to give people kind of a look at what we're working on for next generation. Now, some of these games are probably going to be on current gen as well, but, following the narrative of next gen talk, we're going to do the same thing, right? Sony does it, Microsoft does it, Nintendo does it, right? Where they announce a game, doesn't come out for 2-3 years, but they maintain that hype because it's a first-party game. It's harder for a third-party studio like Warner Bros. To do that, or like a publisher, but they do it all. I mean, there are publishers that can do it. So I feel like that's what they're going to be doing this time around. So, again, I think Batman is going to get announced. I've been saying this. I mean, this is what I was hoping. I still hope and think this could be happening. I really don't want Batman announced for the first time at E3. And again, for the purposes of what I've been saying with my predictions, I don't think there is an E3. I think it'll just be like a live stream. So when it gets to like early June, I feel like Batman needs to have already been shown. Now, that is my prediction, too, that I feel like it will be shown before that time period, but I wouldn't be shocked if I'm wrong. Okay, and now you could now that is your point where you guys can type in that you're always wrong. Let me just fill the insults in for you. But that's honestly, I mean, I won't be shocked. I really won't, because that does seem like something that Warner Bros. Wouldn't do, Warner Bros. Montreal. But at the same time, like I said in past videos too, I feel like their timeline's just all been thrown off because I feel like a lot of these games have been delayed. I feel like some of these games have been leaked earlier than they probably should have. But specifically with Warner Bros. Montreal and Rocksteady, I do feel like both. I mean, we know, again, Warner Bros. Montreal's games have been canceled, they've been delayed, all that kind of stuff. I think Rocksteady's has too. I think that's really thrown their scheduling into like a mixer because, again, I don't think they like the fact that they have to announce all of these at the same time, but then they're staggered. They're not all coming out in like a nice 6 to 8 month period, right? And again, No, from our perspective, it's not the. If you're a gamer and you're watching their live stream, you're like, oh my dear God, Harry Potter. Oh my dear God, Rocksteady. Oh my dear God, new Batman. I mean, you're flipping out, and I'm flipping out. I'm enjoying it. Again, like I said in yesterday's video and today's, I mean, like, we could have a video a day, 3 videos that we do each day. All 3, one could be Rocksteady, one could be Harry Potter, one could be Warner Bros. Montreal's Batman. And we could replicate that for weeks. And I mean, that would be all we talk about and would maybe get a little repetitive. Obviously, we wouldn't make the same video every time. But like, even from our perspective, I mean, that's an amazing thing. People love those games. People are going to join into our community. We're going to get more subscribers. Our base is going to grow. I mean, it's a great thing. So I think, like, it is good. But again, I would like each of them to kind of take their turn. Is that so? Is that like, I don't know, because I feel like yesterday's video, I'm recording these at the same time. I feel like yesterday's video is going to get a lot of hate. I feel like today's video can get a lot of hate as well. I just want people to understand where I'm coming from. I don't like hate it. It's not like I hate this, but I just want them to have their own spotlight. I would like Batman to have like a month to itself. And yes, when the game releases, it is all by itself, right? Unless they do something really dumb and put their games out like in the same month Bethesda's done that in the past, and that's come back to bite them. They wouldn't do that. But so when they release, yeah, they'll be all alone. But when they get announced, I mean, that's a big time too. And then what do you show? Because again, Warner Bros. Montreal, like, we would expect a trailer, I think, before that live stream or early June, right? Then we expect gameplay, because then we're only a couple months from the game coming out. So we need gameplay. We need info on the game. But then, okay, so for Rocksteady's game and Harry Potter, do they just go away? They have a trailer, and then maybe they show it again at the Game Awards, because then Batman's done, and then now we look forward to 2021. I guess that makes sense, but now are people okay with, okay, we get a trailer in June, and now we have to wait till December, 6 full months, to get more info, and who knows what we're even shown there. So it's just like, from a non-patient point of view, or even from, again, just I want these games to have their own spotlight, and to kind of maintain the spotlight, not show up for a day and then disappear into the night, right? Which works for Batman, but Batman, like, as a person or as a figure, but not necessarily for what they're doing here. So it's mixed thoughts. It's absolutely mixed thoughts. But again, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to say that this is a good thing, because I agree with that. I know it's a good thing in a lot of regards. I'm just saying, from my point of view, to look at why it could not necessarily be the greatest thing in the world, especially for Warner Bros. At the end of the day, this is a very cool next couple months. I mean, we're getting warmer because of the changes of season. But in terms of the gaming community, this is an amazing time to be around. So keep it tuned to this channel, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have that bell icon hit. We're going to have loads of videos over the coming months, obviously. And we're gonna try and cover as much as we possibly can. If they all get announced at the same time, I don't honestly know what I'll do with my life. But we're gonna have loads of videos. We'll be covering all of those games. We'll be covering any big games, anything like that gets announced as well. Obviously, leading up to these games, obviously when the games come out, all that kind of stuff. Non-stop coverage from all of these main Warner Bros. Games from the channel, as well as any other really big games or any games that I find interesting as well. I run it, so I get to pick the videos that go up, and I love covering these games. I love having you guys along with me. You guys are truly, truly the best. I love having you guys here. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for continuing to come back. For those haters out there, you know what? They just keep on coming, and we're just going to keep fending them off as we get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they're really going to have nothing to go off of. So it's going to be really, really fun over the next coming months, over the next coming years. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you all in the next video.